Okay, yesterday we were in the middle of a geschmack, a difficult Gemara, and we're still in the middle of it because we started yesterday. Okay, basically, here's the deal. In order for something Mechayev in Chumas Maisa, you need two components. You need one that has Gemar Malacha, and two, it's Rob Pnei Abayis. So in a scenario where it's not Gemar Malacha, for example, it's drying, you put it out to dry, you cut it and put it out to dry, even if they're in the Chatzar, you would not be Kaveh Lamaisa. Chatzar would be Rob Pnei Abayis. You would have that, but since it was not Gemar Malacha, conversely, if you have something that is Gemar Malacha, you have Tain and that's Gemar Malacha, and it's outside, then you would be able to eat Achilas Aroy, because again, the Shaila was the following: Shabbos. We know that Shabbos, can Shabbos go ahead and be Koiveya by a pre that doesn't have Gemar Malacha? In other words, we saw a Mishnah yesterday that Shabbos, even without Roy Pnei Abayis, if it's in the Sadeh, if a teenager puts something in the Sadeh, hides it, so you only have one component, you have the Gemar Malacha, even though it's not Roy Pnei Abayis, the Chiddush of Rav Nachman was Shabbos was Koiveya le'inyan Maisa. Shabbos would be Koiveya le'inyan Maisa. That was a big Chiddush. We had a Shaila, okay, I know a Chotzer is not Koiveya, something that you don't have Gemar Malacha. No, it's dried figs. What about Shabbos? Can Shabbos go ahead and do that? So Mazutra wanted to say, I have a raya from our Mishnah. What was our Mishnah? Rabbi Eliezer said the following. He said a person can stand up in the Erev Shabbos of a Shemitah and say what? That I want to take my fruit from here, I want to take my fruit from there. In other words, and Stamazoi, the fruit is speaking muktzah. It's speaking where the fruit is not Gemar Malacha. And it says the next day you could take it. Now, there's two problems with Shabbos. One, muktzah problem, and two, a Maisa problem, because you can't separate Trumas and Maisa on Shabbos to Rabbanon. It's like Tikkun Mana. So what did you gain in the Mishnah by saying the Shemitah year? You took off the Maisa problem, because in Shemitah there's no din of Trumas Maisa. So now, instead of having a Trumas Maisa problem and a muktzah problem, I only have a muktzah problem. So you could take off the muktzah problem by your hazmana, by saying, I want to take over there according to, if you hold yesh breira, or if you hold ein breira, you want to take off after a roshim from here to here, being more specific, right? Then that would take off the muktzah problem. Now, conversely, if it's not the Shemitah year, so good, I took off the muktzah problem, but I still have what? I still have a Trumas and Maisa problem, right? So you see that what? That Shabbos is Kodeya. It's speaking about fruit that is drying out. It's fruit that you don't have a Gemar Malacha. And nonetheless, you got, it's what? It's Kodeya. Nonetheless, it's Kodeya l'inyan Maisa. You can't eat it. That's why we said Shemitah, Dafka to take that off. Because without Shemitah, you couldn't eat it. That's what we were holding yesterday. Good? And says the Gemara, no. You don't have a raya that Shabbos is Kodeya. Maybe it's his Amira that's Kodeya. In other words, since he said, I want from there, that makes it like Kodeya for an Achila. Just like Shabbos, Shvikorasal the Shabbos Oinig, it's machshev that the Achila is no longer Achilas Aroi, it's Achilas Kva. So to your Amira that I'm taking off in that specific place. So that's what we were holding yesterday. Frag the Gemara, if that's the case, why did you learn by Shabbos? Why even Chayil, you would have the same problem. If it's the Chayil, if it's the Dima that's Kodeya, then the same Kiddush could exist. It belongs to say this rhyme. It doesn't belong here. I know Achana from Daf Yud. Why did we say? Says whether you have to go ahead and shake the chicken or not, right? That would be enough for Hachana. But over here, you tell me Amira, that belongs in Maestris. It doesn't belong in Masechta Yontif. Bishleim, if you have a muktzah component, I can understand why it's here. But if it's totally a shaila about his dibur being kaiveya, it should be in Seidas Royim. So that's the kasha we were holding at. I'm sorry I can't repeat it. You have to be on time. And now you're going to be lost in the sauce. This is yeah. You need this is again. I hope anyone, did you keep that cheshbon a little bit? Okay. Anyway, a little bit. Okay. Let's just keep on going, okay? So now, we're going to disprove it. We're up to Lamed Dalid. Yeah.
The muktzah is out because when right?
No. Yeah, but the muktzah, no. It's muktzah. Forget not Chumas Maisa. It's because you're Makatza Das.
The whole Chumas Maisa. Muktzah is a shkus, right?
Muktzah, I'm a katzadas. Since it's drying in the field, I know I'm not going to use it. It's nothing to do with Chumas Maisa.
So it's not a shvus to shvus because
Again, because no component whatsoever, none, zero, nothing to do with it. Okay, so now says the Gemara, we're up to Lamed Dalit Amid Beis Ihachi Pirish Ihachi, that it's the dibur that's koivea Indian truma. Again, it's not dibur malachtai. Your dibur is koivea and not Shabbos. So ma ir Shabbos. Why do you learn it in a component of Shabbos with a muktzah component? I feel b'chol nami. Take away the chol component, the muktzah component. Just say it's a shaila in whether the dibur is koivea or not, and put it in Seidas Rayim. That's what Rashi learns. And for the Gemara, here's the chiddush, guys. Listen to this chiddush. I'm going to tell to you outside first. Listen to this. What's happening over here? We're hearing the chiddush agav Shabbos. I'm doing two things. I'm saying tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and eat from there. I'm taking off the muktzah problem, right? Okay. What happens if it's a Trumas Maisa problem? Then I can't eat, correct? Because I can't take off Trumas Maisa on Shabbos. Is there a svara therefore to say that it's muktzah machmas iser and you still have a problem with muktzah? Good, I was mazing it, but guys, I'll give you a great example. If I go ahead and I say, I have a $100 bill and I say, tomorrow I want to use it. Can I use it? No. In other words, there's a muktzah that is usher, period, right? And all the hazmana in the world can't make it mutter. Hazmana is when something that's totally in your das. Good. So over here, I can't use it because it's Shabbos and Shabbos is koiveya, right? And Shabbos is koiveya. Oh, so very geschmack. Since listen, I just svara to say the following: since it's Shabbos and I can't take off Trumas Maisa, yeah. So it's the muktzah that I was mazim also doesn't help. So let's say a person would come along and then he'd be over and he'd take off Trumas Maisa. Would he be able to eat it? No, because it's muktzah. Kamash Malon that you took care of the muktzah problem. That's what you're hearing by Shabbos. Kamash Malon you're hearing in Shabbos. Why didn't you learn in Seidas Royim? Why did you tell us the venue of Shabbos? You're hearing a Zaytik Chiddush, guys. You're hearing a Chiddush that, guess what? Despite the fact that you won't be able to eat it because it's Shabbos and you can't be mafish Trumas Maisa, your hazmana helped that if someone would go ahead and take off Trumas Maisa, you could eat it and it won't be a muktzah problem. That you did remove the muktzah problem. That you wouldn't have heard if you didn't mention Shabbos at all. Fred the Gemara, why do you learn the whole shaila by Shabbos? If it's a whole shaila, Shabbos is not kaveya, your dibur is kaveya. It has nothing to do with Shabbos whatsoever. So why did you learn it by Shabbos? And for the Gemara, you taught us a chiddush. What's the chiddush? That your hazmana is milsahi. It helps for something. Let's see it in the words. Ihachi, the Gemara. Maya Shabbos. It has nothing to do with Shabbos being kaveya. Only the dibur is kaveya. Afila b'chol nami. Even the chol also, it should be a problem of what? Your dibur being kaveya. Hakamashmon. Here's why you learned it by Shabbos. The tevel muchan who etzel Shabbos. Tevel is considered muchan, meaning it's not muktzah etzel Shabbos, because Yasmona helped despite the fact that you might think that it's muktzah machmas isser, because you can't take off what? You can't take off Trumas Maisa. Kemash Malon, that it does help. That's the chiddush over here. Great chiddush. Shem avar v'tiknoi. If you're over on Shabbos, v'tiknoi, and you did take off Trumas Maisa, mitukin, it would be mitukin. Geschmack is anything. So right now, here's where you're holding. Let's go. In the cheshbon. In the cheshbon is we wanted to bring a raya to a shaila. Is Shabbos koiveya by something that you don't have a gemara malacha, and you thought you had a raya from our Mishnah, you don't, because our Mishnah is speaking b'dibur. If our Mishnah is speaking b'dibur, why are you telling me Shabbos? To tell us the chiddush that despite the fact that it's muktzah, because it's you can't take up Trumas Maisa, it's still not muktzah. Fred the Gemara, b'haloi moisroi chayzer. Now listen to this. What happens the following? You go ahead, you separate a meal to eat. Chilas aroy. Can you put it back, or does the separation make it kaveya? Says Rabbi Eliezer, put it back. Says Rabbi Eliezer, you can go ahead, take it and put it back.
Make it tevel.
And then no, and right. In other words, and it doesn't become keva. It doesn't become keva. So now, if you're telling me once you took it, you took too much. You took too much. You're able to eat a chilas aroy, but you took too much. you put it back, and it goes back to being tevel, right? So madach, where you took it, and you can put it back, meaning it's not koveya by taking it. You're going to tell me a dibur is koveya? Now we're asking on your whole teretz. Your teretz was the following. Your teretz was a dibur is koveya, not Shabbos. 1 second. Rabbi Eliezer holds that even if you took it and you put it back, it's not koveya. Madach, if you took it and put it back, it's not koveya. Certainly your dibur alone can't be koveya. Says to them, look at Rashi, guys. Top Rashi. Heichi matzis lemeimar. How could you possibly say the kfiyusa mishum diburahu, that the kfiyus to take off chumas and maisa is because of dibur? In the weekdays you would take a lot. The nice and lefunav the michse de kavia le ba'achila meruba im dava royal hachsir a meiser achachila say lemakom shenal misham hashamina Rabbi Eliezer that what the amalei kava ben atila kamaisa you weren't kaveya by taking it. Okay, I'll go over it again. I'm never convinced that speaking loudly makes you understand better. Okay, guys, listen up. It's a cheshbon. It's cheshbon along, and it's a cheshbon in Zrayim. But I got it. My Zrayim partner, I got it. Geschmack. We have a shaila. What's a shaila? Shabbos, not gemar malacha. Remember, you need two things. Gemar malacha, right pnei abayis. Good? Good. Can Shabbos be koveya by something that doesn't have a gemar malacha? We want to say yes, and we want to bring a raya from our Mishnah. What was the raya from the Mishnah? It's a Shemitah year, and therefore you took care of the what? Of the Maisa problem. It happens to be also a Muktzah problem. I took care of that. The Gemara doesn't discuss braver at all. You know that Shaila, Mechanic, that's gone. That's gone, right? So l'chayra, why did it have to learn it's a Shemitah year? Because if it wasn't a Shemitah year, meaning it was a Erev Shabbos of any other year, you'd have a problem. What's the problem? It's Chumas Maisa. But where was Koveya? It's not Nigma Malacha. It must be Shabbos, it's Koveya. Says the Gemara, no, you have no raya. Maybe it's his dibur that's Koveya. The fact that he said, I want to take from here is Koveya. But Fred the Gemara now and that, I'm skipping the whole kasha from Choil. It's not necessary. Fred the Gemara now of Kishmak. You want to tell me dibur is Koveya? And who's the Tan of the Mishnah? Rabbi Eliezer. You know what Rabbi Eliezer holds? He holds the following. If I would take Davish Nigma Malachtoi and start eating it, right? And I eat too much, and I had too much. If I put it back, it's not koveya. So madach, where I take it, it's not koveya. You're going to tell me a dibur is koveya? It makes no sense. So it must be Shabbos is koveya. We're back to first base. Says the Gemara. The meiser, the leftover goes back. The shaminin leil Rebbe Eliezer the Amar kol heicha the meiser chayzer loy kava. Anytime you put it back, it's not koveya. That what the Chumas Maisa. The Tnan in the Mishnah Maisvis, Perik Dalid, Hanoitel Zeisim min Hamaton. The maton is the vat where you're putting the olives in, guys, to get warm, that it should flow, that the olive should flow. So Hanoitel Zeisim min Hamaton, if someone takes Zeisim from a vat, Toivel Achas b'melach v'oichel. In other words, that's your chilas haray. If you take one at a time and you toivel it, and they used to use it in salt and eat olives, that was fine. Take out the asara. If you take and put in front of you, then chayiv, meaning the act of putting in front of you is kaiveya. Rabbi Eliezer, no. Min amatin tahar. If the matan is tahar chayiv, you know why? If the vat is tahar, you can't put it back. We're going to see why in a second. So if the vat is tahar chayiv in maisa, min amatan tamei. I read it wrong. Rabbi Eliezer, min amatin tahar. Right. Minamatin tame, but if it's a tame dikamatin potter, you'd be potter from chumas meiser. Why? If neishu machzer es hameiser, because you could put it back. Va'avinabo, yes, meishla reisha, meishla seifa. What's the difference between the tar dikavat? What's the difference between the tame dikavat? Why the tar can't you return it, and why the tame you could return it? Ravo answers it up. Reisha bimatin tar. Reisha speaking where the vat is tar, the gavra tame, and the person's tame. So mamela is tame, you can't put it back. Sefer b'matin tamei, the gavra tamei, the matzi mahadle. The bottom line is, if you take care of the tumah problem, you can take it back. So if you can take it back, a ma'aser can put it back. Certainly, and that's not kaveya. Certainly, a dibur is not kaveya. So now, again, it's a straightforward kasha. Guys, it's a straightforward kasha. You got it. Boom, boom, boom. Again, our Mishnah Shabbos kaveya. No, Dibus kaveya. No, how can you say dibus kaveya? He holds if you would take too much, you put it back. You could put it back. If my action is not kaveya, certainly my dib is not kaveya. So we're back to first base. It must be Shabbos is kaveya. And my sucha l'chayre has a very good raya that Shabbos can be kaveya by davish like nigma malachtoi. Good.
Can I go back for a second? I'm sorry.
Sure.
When someone takes a trumas amaisis, he was masakin, right? The other person, let's say, you. So you
What would say what?
If someone took trumas amaisis
On a regular scenario.
On Shabbos, let's say, took trumas amaisis on Shabbos.
You can't take a trumas amais on Shabbos.
Right, but if you did, it's much for you to eat.
What? I didn't say you. It doesn't say no. It doesn't say you.
If another person did it,
he could eat it.
He could eat it.
He could eat it.
Okay, but don't we have a concept of muksamach masisa because of something that was that was muksa on finished mushes?
Again, that's the Rabbanon. This is the Rabbanon. The Chiddush is over here that your Hazmana helped, so it wasn't Asa Ben Hashmashas. It wasn't Asa Ben Hashmashas, Yankel. If you're no, because your Hazmana helped. Since I said I'm taking, yeah, no, it took away that muktzah issue.
But it's still muktzah because it has no use in
again, so that's the chiddush. No, it's not. It's not. That in other words, that's only solely a trumas ma'isa issue. It's not a what. It's not a muktzah issue. I took care of the azmana. I took care of that. Or else the whole sugi doesn't begin according to you. According to you, the sugi doesn't begin. You understand? You understand? According to you, why does it help? Why does that? Again, I'm telling you, it's two separate issues. You see clearly from the Mishnah, it's two separate issues. It's two separate issues totally. Oh, so now, guys, then we need an Ella, right? We need an Ella because right now you have a riot that Shabbos is kaiveya by something that's like Malachta because you know it can't be Dibor. Ella, I've seen Rashi, Rebbe Eliezer Karmit. You're saying Pshat and Rebbe Eliezer that what that it's a Shabbos problem, not a Dibor problem. Rebbe Eliezer Latamei. Rabbi Eliezer goes according to his reasoning. The Amar Truma Kava the Kol Shkein Shabbos. Outside. Guys, watch. I have something that you don't have a Gemar Malacha. Good. Is it Chayiv Trumas Maisa? Bobblehead? No. Good. Not. Yes. Not. What's a shaila? Can Shabbos go ahead and bump it up? Right. If Rabbi Eliezer holds in something else, another a leniency. Or a chumrah, in fact, that it bumps it up, even though shleinim malachtoi, there's a svara to say that what he would hold by Shabbos also, but it wouldn't be a riot to anybody else. Okay. Stamazoi, the only way you think to go ahead and be chiv and trumas ma'isa is gemar malacha with roy pnei abayis. Listen to this. I have something that is in the field. It's not gemar malacha. It's in the chutzah. It's in the chutzah. It's in the chutzah, and there's no gemar malacha. I go over it and I separate truma. Are you chayiv to separate meister? Says Rebbe Eliezer, yes. It's not gemar malacha. Your act of separating truma, I don't know if it made a gemar malacha, but it made a chiyuv. It shaft a chiyuv. Mimela, it's not so far distant to say, since Rebbe Eliezer holds there is a venue where you can shaft a chiyuv through taking off truma. Maybe also by Shabbos also would shaft the chiyuv. It also create the chiyuv. But you would have a riot to somebody who disagrees and says Truma would not create it. Says the Gemara inside. Rebbe Eliezer, Ella Amar of Simi Rashi. Rebbe Eliezer Ka'amrit. You're saying Rebbe Eliezer? Rebbe Eliezer Tanei. The Amar Truma Kava. The separation of Truma is Kaveya that you have to take off Meiser as well. The Kol Shekain Shabbos. And Shabbos is a Kol Shekain. In other words, Madach separating Truma is Machshavit. Certainly Shabbos. Guys, look at the middle line, three lines down, the middle wide. For Kol Shekain Shabbos, the Chashiva Achilasa. In other words, I don't think it's an Indian of making Gemar Malacha. I think it makes it a Chashivas. It makes the Karas the Shabbos Oinig. It takes you can't call this an Achilas Aroi. It's an Achilas Shabbos. Right, you can't call that. That's the word. Not a Gemar Malacha. It's important to make shafing. It's a chilas, not a chilas aroy. It's a chilas kfa. So it's therefore madach separating truma. Certainly Shabbos would do the job. The chashiva achilasa of a rabbanon name lecha. Rabbanon say ki hechi the polig b'truma that doesn't shaf a chiyav polig b'Shabbos. Okay, so where are we holding now in the cheshbon? Let's go. Let's just review the cheshbon. You wanted to bring a raya from a Mishnah Shabbos. we said dibur. We just slugged up dibur. Why? Because of the fact that you could put it back. Says the Gemara. Who says you could put it back? Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer says you could put it back. So therefore, if you could put it back, then there's no dibur, right? So therefore, it must be Shabbos. If Rabbi, you want to bring a riot that everyone holds Shabbos, you can't. That Mishnah is according to Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer would certainly hold Shabbos as Kaveya. Why? Because he holds separating Truma as Kaveya. So Madach separating Truma for something that you don't have a Gemar Malach is Kaveya, Kolshkein Shabbos with the Achilas Choshev, it Rimachshev, it not to be the Achilas Aroi, it'll be the Achilas Kfa, and you be Chayiv. So right now you have no riot to the halacha because it would be unique to Rabbi Eliezer. It'll be unique to Rabbi Eliezer. Okay? The Nan. Rabbi Eliezer says, Perish Shetarmin, actually Nigmar Malachton, Perish that you took of Truma until you go ahead and you had a Gemar Malacha. Rabbi Eliezer, Oisa Lecha Mehen Aroi, you won't be able to eat Aroi because you're Chayivat in Trum, in taking away Maisa. Matirin. Say no. Good? Very good. Okay, so far we held serve. You don't have a raya, a universal raya that by Shabbos it would be what that Shabbos is not Gemar Malacha. Okay, now Toshma, we want to bring a raya from the Sefer guys, the Sefer of the Mishnah. What was the Sefer of the Mishnah? What was the Sefer? What was the Sefer of the Mishnah? The Sefer of the Mishnah was that the Chacham said in order to do mimeisim it, to be making it, you have to do two things. One, you have to do a physical action to surround it. And two, you have to say, Omer mikan biad kan. You have to be more specific because they hold ein breira. So we don't say, Huvra hadovel mafreya, that's the fruit I had in mind. That was Rebbe Eliezer, that you could say, I'm going to eat from there. So now, according to this, so therefore, now we're going to bring a raya from them that Shabbos is Kodeya. Says the Gemara, Tashma, me sefer, v'chacham ma'imim, ad she'yir shaim. It doesn't take off the muktzah problem until you make a roishim, literally an impression. V'yoymar mikan v'ad kan, from here at mikan v'ad kan. I'm taking from here to there. Taimo der Shabbos v'shvius. The reason why you can do this, take off the muktzah problem, is because you don't have a ma'aser problem. Why don't you have a ma'aser problem? Because it's the Shemitah year. The lav bari suruhu, because you don't have to take off ma'aser. Ha b'shar shnei shavua. What about all the rest of the times of the year? The bnei asura, and you know that they're all bnei asura. Asurim, it will be asa. My time, lav mishum the Shabbos kavala. It must be Shabbos, so that l'chayr you have a raya that Shabbos is kaveh. The same raya we want to be from Rabbi Eliezer would be from the Chachamim. And now you have and now this would be a better raya because it's not Rabbi Eliezer. So shani hasam, even the ama mikan ve'akan ani oichel lemachar kavala. In other words, the same teretz dibur. Since I said mikan ve'kan, same teretz and same kasha. Yihachi ma'ir your Shabbos afil b'chol nami. If you're telling me it's your dibur, it's nothing to do with Shabbos, why'd you go ahead and tell me the din in Shabbos? Tell me the din and put it in say this royim. I said, Kamashmalon, the tevel muchan aleitz Shabbos. That don't think just because it's tevel that you have a muktzah problem, you don't have a muktzah problem. Your hazmana helps. Shem ava v'tiknoi mitoken. It's mitoken. It's the same dialogue. Now, I'm going to ask you a stira on Rabbi Eliezer according to Rabbi Eliezer. Now, according to Rabbi Eliezer, guys, why is it? If I ask you according to Rabbi Eliezer, why is it kaveya Shabbos? Why not dibur? Because he holds, you can return it. In other words, clearly Rabbi Eliezer must hold that it's Shabbos that's kaveya, right? Now I'm going to show you that he says Shabbos is not kaveya. Uriminu, I'm going to ask you a stira now in Rabbi Eliezer. Okay? So now, if you don't know anything that I've said until now, guys, you can pick it up right here. Why? Here's your stira. Rabbi Eliezer from our Mishnah says Shabbos is kaveya. Now we're going to bring a raya that Shabbos is not kaveya. We're going to bring the stira Rabbi Eliezer to Rabbi Eliezer. We're going to answer according to Rabbi Nassim. Says the Gemara. Uriminu, hayoichel be'eshkol. You're eating a cluster of grapes. Rashi tells us, stam a cluster of grapes, guys, is not nigmar malacha, because most of the grapes we use for pressing for wine. So it's just like einim that are spread out in the field is not nigmar malacha. An eshkol, a cluster of grapes, is not nigmar malacha. Okay, cluster of grapes not nigmar malacha. V'nichnas migina lachatzer. Now it's roi pnei abayis, right? Okay, so now it's roi pnei abayis. So you filled in one of the checks, right? You checked off one of the boxes, right? That bad, it's roi pnei abayis. Rabbi Eliezer oime yigmar. You can finish eating. In other words, you can finish eating achilas roi. Rabbi Shua oime lo yigmar. You can't. Rabbi Yeshua holds that you don't even afilu davar she'en nigmar malate chatzer will be kaveya. Rabbi Yeshua is machmir. He says even a davar she'en nigmar malate chatzer will be kaveya. Choshcha Shabbos. Now you brought it in so it's right pnei abayis, but it's not nigmar malacha, and now it's Shabbos. Rabbi Eliezer a yigmar, you still complete it. But guys, 1 second, how can you hold you complete it? Shabbos for kaveya. Rabbi Eliezer yigmar, Rishu a la yigmar. 1 second. How can Rabbi Eliezer hold you can complete eating it? Isn't Shabbos kaveya a need to go ahead and be mafresh tumus u'maiser? So you have a stira in Rabbi Eliezer.
Maybe it holds only in the bias. It's kaveya.
Again, the raya is from chatzah. The raya before is from chatzah. It's not kaveya. Says the Gemara, Hasam Kiddik Tani Taima. Over there, it's like it says, the Masnistan is Reb Nasani, the Tanya, Reb Nasan Aimer, Loikish Amar Reb Eliezer, Yigmar Bechatzer, Yigmar, Eliyaitzel Chatzer, the Yigmar. Don't finish it in the Chatzer, finish it outside the Chatzer. So it's never right Pnei Abayis. Loikish Amar Reb Eliezer, Yigmar B'Shabbos, Yigmar, Ela Memam Til L'Maitzer Shabbos. You wait till Maitzer Shabbos for Yigmar and finish it then. So guys, so all intents and purposes, what? He's held serve. So at this point in time, we haven't been pushed the Shiloh whatsoever. L'kuli alma, what's the din l'gavi Shabbos? Guys, good? Okay, I'm not reviewing. I'm not reviewing.
That's fine.
What? Yeah, you can listen to it on the tape. Is that anyone? Again, you can listen to it Chazara, but basically, again, at the end of the line is, guys, Rebbe Eliezer holds that Shabbos is kaveya, clearly from our Mishnah, because we've disproven the fact the only two possibilities to be kaveya on something that didn't have Gemara Malacha until this point in time was it Shabbos or his Amira or his Dibur. We've done away with the Dibur because of the terrors of returning it, right? Of doing away with that, right? So we've done away with it. Why was Shabbos not Chayil? If it's Dibur, we did away with that because it tells the Chiddush of Shabbos that it's still not Muktzah. And if you would take it off, we take it off. So we've dealt with that. So clearly, at the end of the day, Rebbe Eliezer holds the reason is Shabbos. What about everybody else? Okay, not. Now we're going to get a psak from the Gadol Hadar, Rebbe Yochanan in Eretz Yisrael, as to whether Shabbos is kaveya in something that you had Gemara Malacha or not. That's what we're going to do right now. So, Ki Asa Ravin, when Ravin came, Rabbi Yochanan. Ravin was always going back and forth. Rab Ovin and Ravin, right? He went, came back Rabbi Yochanan, and he said the following, guys. Echad Shabbos, v'yechad Truma, whether it's Shabbos or it's separating Truma, v'yechad Chatzer, or whether it goes into the Chatzer, v'yechad Mekach, or if you sell to somebody something that you don't have a Gemara Malacha, Kulan ein koivim ela b'dava shenigmar malachton. You get a psak. It's not koiveya. You would not have to take off Shumas Samaisa yet because it wasn't nigmar malacha. And whether it was Shabbos, whether it was, and we're going to go through each one. Why each one? Shabbos, Truma, Chatzah, Mekach. Okay, now Shabbos lafuki midahilel. Shabbos is not koiveya. Rabbi Yochanan had to say it, as opposed to the opinion of Hillel, who holds Shabbos was koiveya. The Tanya, Hamamar Peres Mimakim Lamakim, or Hamavir Peres Mimakim Lamakim, Liktsar. You're taking Peres from place to cut. Is that Gemara Malacha or not? No. Guys, if you're cutting them, it's not Gemara Malacha, right? In other words, Gemara Malacha means this is it. Finally, this is it. No, this is not final. Obviously, I'm cutting them, so it's not Gemara Malacha. So you're being Maver. So all we established that this is speaking, there was no Gemara Malacha. The Kiddush Aleim Hayom, and now it's Shabbos. Rabbi Yehuda says, Rabbi Yehuda, Hillel Atzma Yaisa, Hillel Atzma, meaning Zichalein. He's the only one who says that Shabbos would be Kaiveya. Rabbi Yochanan said his din lafuke de shita. When a good kasha, guys. Why does it say lafuke Hillel? Why does it say lafuke Rabbi Eliezer? Rabbi Eliezer, we clearly proved that we'll from our Mishnah that Shabbos is Kaiveya. Right? We said from Rabbi Eliezer, he can't be Dibur because he can return it, right? So the Tosfos answers, Rabbi Eliezer is, the halacha is never like Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Eliezer was Shemuti. So therefore it's Lafuke Hilatzma. Okay, next. Yeah, there's an end in sight, right? Chatza Lafuke Mid Rabbi Yaakov. That Chatza is not Kaiveya, excluding the opinion of Rabbi Yaakov. That nan, what does Rabbi Yaakov hold? Hamavir Te'enim B'Chatzeroi Liktzos. Again, so what is it, guys? Clearly, not Gemara Malacha. You're doing it right to cut. Bono v'nei beisai oichlem mehem aroi upeturim min armaisa v'tani Allah Rabbi Yaakov mechayev. You be chayev Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda paita. So comes along Rabbi Yochanan and say the halacha is like Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda. That you pata. That chutz is not kaveya. Truma. Lafukim b'Rabbi Eliezer. That we saw in the Amud Aleph. Rabbi Eliezer says, if you separate truma, you have to separate ma'isa. The dan perish tarma not shlei nigmar malachton. Rabbi Eliezer isa lachom emaroi v'chacham matirim. The Tosfos yes on himself. So you see here, he said Lafukim b'Rabbi Eliezer, right? Because he was the only one who that was the only opinion in town. Before when you had Hillel and Rabbi Eliezer, you can go with Hillel. Over here, Rabbi Eliezer is the only game in town. Mekach. How do you know a sale of davish nigmar malachtoi is not kaveya? Kidatanya brisa. Halakech te'inim me'amoretz. Now you're buying te'inim from an amoretz, right? The mokim sheroiv b'nei adam darsan. Most of the people make olive oil, right? That's not olive oil. What am I talking about? But you make te'inim is figs. You're making pressed figs. Pressed figs. Yeah, gulit vela. So in other words, so if you buy te'inim in a place where most of the people press it, it's not Gemar Malacha, guys, right? Since there's another step afterwards, it's not a Gemar Malacha. Good? It's not a Gemar Malacha. Oichel mehem aroi, you can eat from them aroi, uma asrin demai, and you can eat aroi. So what do you see when you say you can eat aroi? Obviously, it's not kaveya. The mechach's not kaveya. That's all we wanted. That's again, you're going to bring in some of the halachas, guys, but don't get mixed up. That's the halacha we wanted. Oichel mehem aroi, you know why? Because it's not kaveya. The sale is not kaveya on the davish l'nigmar malachtoi. Umasran demai, and you have to take off the mai, right? It's a chiddush, right? That an amoritz is going to take off even before Gemar Malacha is taking off. The mai is a cooler, guys, right? We're machmir to take it off, but we're not choshed. We don't say if they have to take it off. Al sofik you take it off. Mashmir and an amoritz would take it off. A big chiddush even before Gemar Malacha. Yeah. Shema min atlash. Shema min you have three things. Which is what we wanted. The fact that the einim are being pressed, so it's a davish loy, and the fact that it's still eat achila sarai, right? Maria entered the waiting room. This is not Maria. What? Oh, it's Shaw. Oh, I just met a girl. Huh. Maria. Now you're going to have to listen to the tape because this daf is a killer. But you listen to it; it's being recorded. If I can get Steve on it, you listen to it. It's very involved, but if you listen to it, you'll get it. But we're only finishing the parak. Anyway, Shmamino Roy Vamaretz Ma'asin Haim. That since you only have to take off the Mai, Shmamino Ma'asin the Mai Me'amaretz. I feel a bit of Malachtoi. Lafuki Mehadid Nan. And this is going back on Rabbi Eliezer. Here's a case that Mekach would be Kaveya. Hamachlu Peres im Chaveroi, you're going ahead and you're bartering. That's bartering is a sale. And instead of for money, you're doing, you give me this, I'll give you this. Hamachlu Peres im Chaveroi, zel lecho v'zel lecho, zel liktzois v'zel liktzois, zel lecho v'zel liktzois chayiv. Now, if it's liktzois, obviously not living malacha, and nonetheless you're saying chayiv. So what do you see? That he holds mekach is kaveya. So Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yochanan is saying lafuki the shita. If you doy melecho chayiv liktzois pata. And he also like Rabbi Yehuda. Since what? If lechol, right? It's liktzois, then you'll be part because it's not kamar malacha, and that's Rabbi Yochanan. Hajn lecha maybe, hajn lecha maybe, hajn lecha maybe. So
because you're finished with the
you're machshavit. The fact that your sales gives it chashivas. It gives it chashivas, not the fact. Again, it's always the point is Yankel. You're elevating it. You're giving it a chashivas. Shabbos gives it chashivas. The sale gives it. Obviously, if selling to it, it's a double chashiv, right? That gives it's the word of chashivas. So therefore, hajlacha maybe. Okay, if you have any questions, my phone number 347-267-3034. You can call me. Not now. Anyway, so. Okay, so we're going to start the new parak. Okay, yeah. Mashilin Paris derech aruba biyantiv. This is a tercha. You're on a roof. You got an aruba. You have a skylight, and you have Paris that are being drying there on the roof. Again, they used to use their roofs all the time. They used their roofs. They had a chutzner, which was common property. The roof was your personal property, and they used the roof all the time. I use my roof also. I have raccoons on them. So that. Yeah. Anyways. And you have a skylight and it's going to rain. You can go ahead and take the fruit and throw it through the skylight. We don't say tercha, guys. You can take the fruit and throw it through the skylight. We don't say tercha. So mashilin, you're able to lower Paris derech aruba beyond if. Avalei b'Shabbos, not on Shabbos. We don't let this tercha go on Shabbos. Umechasen peiros bekalim, if they had delaf, you have peiros, and there's a dripping on them. You can take a kli and put it on top of it. The chen kadeyayim kadei shemen that are getting dripped upon, you would be able to cover up. The noise and kli tachas adelaf for Shabbos, and delaf is on Shabbos. You can put a kli underneath it. The mimakabel that the house shouldn't get wet. All these is permitted. Now we're going to have an entomology clinic. What's the word mashilin? We're going to have 4 possibilities. Okay. Itma Rabbi Yehuda Rav Nasan Chatani mashilin. One says mashilin, the Chatani mashchilin, and one says mashchilin. Mazutra manditani mashilin loy mishtabish, umanditani mashchilin loy mishtabish. Either one, the connotation will be lowering. It'll be the same. There won't be a difference. It'll be the same. Manditani mashilin loy mishtabish. Tichsiv. It says in the Teichacha ki yishal zeisecha that you zeisim they're going to fall off the trees. They won't get time to ripen. So yishal, it's a klola. What does yishal means? The shirish of mashilin is yishal means to lower. Umanditani mashchilin loy mishtabish ditnan. By the Bechoris, it's discussing the movement by the Bechoris. It's a shachol v'akosol, shachol v'shachol, shenishmata yerechoi, that it's yerech fell. So you see that that lashon shachol mashchilin is falling. So you're taking a noun and turning it into a verb. That's all you're doing, or a void. It's a void. Now, ksul she'echa, but ksul she'echa miyakos gavoy mechaber. One is bigger than the other. But anyway, that would work. Amrav Nachman, even if it didn't say mashilin. Even if you say mashchilin, I have 2 other possibilities it could have said. Amrav Nachman Yitzchak mandit tani mashirin le mishtabish, mashirin, umandit tani mashchirin le mishtabish. So besides mashchilin, we're adding mashirin and mashchirin, right? We're adding 2 more things. Le mishtabish. Umandit tani menashin le mishtabish. How about this one? Mandit tani mashirin le mishtabish. That means lowering. Did nana mishlin nazir. Rabbi Shmuel Oimer. Rabbi Shmuel says. Nazir lo yachif roishoy be'adama. A nazir should not go ahead and rub his head with adama. He's shampooing and he's using some type of Dead Sea stuff, right? Ava. He's doing it in his hair. He shouldn't. If they should measure as a sayer, it causes the hair to fall out, right? So measure, guys. You see the lashon mashirin would mean lowering, taking off. Mandatani mashirin like mishtabish ditnan. Hashachar, this is a razor. The hazug shel saparim, and a scissor of a barber, which seems to be, these are 2 pieces. Even though if you divide them, they're tummy, it's not considered broken. But the bottom line is we don't care about the tumah. We care about the fact that what does shachar do? Mashchirin, it lowers, it takes the hair off your face. So you could learn mashchirin. Umandatani minashirin lemishtabish ditnan. Mi shenashru kelav b'mayim, someone who goes ahead, he's walking and his clothing got lowered into the water. Mahalik behem, in the wet clothing, he can walk till it dries off. Bein chayshes, that benach chayshes, he's going to go ahead and wash it. So what do you see? That nashru in the shirin means to lower. Inami mehadet nan eza leket han noishe b'shas ktsira, that falls b'shas ktsira. All Gemara should be like this, right? You went from one Gemara to this Gemara. This is okay. Anyway, let's finish the daf. Tanan, mashilin peiros derech haruba. You can go ahead, and you can lower the peiros derech haruba. You can go ahead and put it to the squire like beyontif. Ad kama is it any amount? He's telling me it's not a tircha, meaning constantly. How much could you do? So we want to make 2 sell to Shabbos. I'm going to say Rav Rasi. Primila Amar Rabbi Asi Am Rabbi Yochanan. Kaisa Sheshanin, like we learned. Mafnin Arba v'chamisha kupos shel tevin v'shel tfua. You can go ahead and clear away in your house 4 or 5 boxes of tevin or tfua. You need more people coming over. You need room. People coming to learn, so you need room. So the chayra, let's say the same thing. Just like there, it's 4 or 5. So too over here, it will be 4 or 5. It says, maybe over there, Ikabitl-based medrash will go ahead and allow you 4 or 5. I will hocha the Ikabitl-based medrash only have sid mom and lie. Inami hasam hainu taima the arba v'chamisha kupois shari mishum Shabbos the chamiri lo yasiv lezuze be it's chamer, so we'll allow you 4 or 5 because you won't come to go ahead and sheep in Shabbos. I will yontif to kill yontif, which is wide, which is more kulidik v'yasiv lezuze be. You may come to mezalzel right klal klalo. Maybe you can't do it all. So therefore, you have no right. In other words, you can't sushtel Shabbos to Yontif. The 4 or 5 by Shabbos is not Then Inami, let's go in the other direction. Leader Kisa. Hasamayna time of the lack of hefsin mom. And there 4 or 5 because no hefsin mom. I will look at the hefsin mom and I feel 2 benami, maybe more than 4 and 5. So therefore you have no raya. Have a good night, everybody.